Hi everyone, today let's talk about Jerome Powell's comments. Do me a quick favor and like and subscribe and watch the video till the end to help out the channel, and let's get started. So Jerome Powell did speak today, and he sounded a little bit more dovish than I would have expected. He said they've made quite a bit of progress on inflation, but they still need to see a little bit more before they feel confident cutting. Inflation continues to downtrend towards that 2% area, but they still want to see a little bit more data before they start reducing interest rates and loosening policy. So we'll see how it plays. Right now, I'm still not expecting any cuts until December. I think September does have some potential, but we need to see better data than we've seen so far to get that cut. And then November pretty much off the table for the election year. So we'll see how it plays. Right now, Fed Powell not super confident yet, but we did see inflation hit that 2.6% over a 12-month period in May. And of course, they are concerned that if they do go too soon, that's going to undermine all of the progress that they've made so far. Moving over to the Fear and Greed Index, you can see we're at a 50. Yesterday, we were at a 47. Markets continue to go higher. Momentum still extreme greed. Still no change on strength or breadth, even with the moves we've been seeing. Put-call ratio still the same. Volatility is still flat. And then junk bond demand back into extreme greed. We haven't seen that for a while we see junk bond demand still hovering in fear. So some dichotomy between the bond interest rates. Moving over to seasonality, you can see we got a pretty decent update today. Pretty interesting there. Election years is supposed to be flat for the first half of the month, but it seems like we're following the normal year, trending higher towards that 17th, 18th, 19th time frame. Then we'll see how it plays after that, but it seems like we're getting this beginning of July rally as markets continue to step higher every day. Moving over to max pain, you can see total options stepping up to 650,000, put wall 540, call wall 550, and we are almost there already at 548. Some calls here at 553 as well. I don't expect to finish above 550, so that gives you about a 0.5% higher from here. Then we'll see what happens once we get there. Middle of the options about 546, so about 0.5% lower from current price. So upside potential 0.5% higher, midpoint 0.5% lower. Moving over to the charts, starting off with the S&Ps, you can see we got a straight up rally throughout the session. Big day, 0.67% on the day. Giving a little bit of that back after hours after hitting this trend line here. You can see it on the daily chart. We expected to hit that trend line and then roll down. We'll see how it plays tomorrow. Momentum stepping to bullish. Hourly momentum did hit overbought conditions. And we'll see how much further this falls in tomorrow's session. Based on this after hours price action, we might see a little bit of a dip into the pre-market, but I would expect that daily momentum to continue to swing to bullish. And then we'll see what happens from there. If we break this trend line here, the next trend is sitting all the way up at 557. Moving over to the Tasty charts on the 4-hour, you can see we're back to bullish conditions here on the SPY. Almost hit that second ATR band at 549.91. Upper ATR is 551.95. So again, gives you a little bit of room to that upside, but not a ton. Did see some decent volume on that push higher, momentum swinging to bullish. So still fits with the thesis of a short-term swing up, something like this to that upper band, and then we'll see that pullback to follow. Moving over to the NASDAQ, you can see pretty much the same thesis, straight up, pretty decent run, fell in the pre-market and then gained all of that back, almost overthrowing the all-time highs, didn't quite get there. It was an all-time high close, which was good. Momentum swinging back to bullish on the daily chart. Upward trend resistance up around 492.50 or so. We'll see if we can get there based on the daily chart, but momentum RSI, everything looks bullish, except for that hourly time frame. Fits with that thesis of a little bit of a fall after hours, maybe pre-market tomorrow, and then a potential push again tomorrow session up to that trend line around 392 or so. Moving over to the Russell and the Dow, really no change to the Russell thesis, still holding that trend line, want to see it get above there. It is falling a little bit after hours, which is concerning, but not a whole lot, down to 201.49. Need that trend to hold, which is sitting around 201.19. Momentum still bullish, RSI still bullish, and then the Dow actually gaining a little bit here today, looking better, getting above that level 392.44, and a potential push to 398.76 is in play with a break of that level on a closing basis. Momentum bullish, RSI bullish. Again, falling a little bit after hours, but not below the level. Moving over to the Mag 7, another super bullish day, 1.84 yesterday and 1.88% today. Momentum bullish, RSI bullish. So as long as the Mag 7 continues to look this bullish, so does the NASDAQ. And potential resistance for me up at 289.09. This is all-time highs for the NASDAQ, so price discovery, no real trend here. Just continuing to go higher up into that zone, in my opinion. Moving over to Apple and Microsoft. Microsoft, both of these having a great day as well. 1.62% and 0.56%. New all-time high close here for Apple at 220.27, which is right at the wick high here from the 12th. Probably going to go above that on this next push. Momentum stepping into slightly bullish. And then we have Microsoft heading towards that trend line again. Still didn't quite get there. 461.24 was the level. Tomorrow it's going to be 462.25. Momentum bullish, RSI still bullish, so continuing to grind along that zone as we push towards that trend. Both of these look bullish, pulling back slightly after hours. Moving over to Tesla and NVIDIA. Tesla up 10.2%. We've continued to watch this as a push, and this is really carrying the NASDAQ higher. Massive run there. Once it broke this 188.50 level, we expected it to go pretty strong up to that 200, but this is way bigger than I thought. My level is 232.57. We'll see what happens once we touch that zone. Just about $1 off there, and then NVIDIA down 1.31%. We've been talking about this looking like it's going to sell down to the 106 area. Momentum bearish, RSI bearish, so got Tesla holding up markets while NVIDIA is falling, so we've definitely seen a bit of a flip in the overall thesis. Moving over to Meta and Amazon, 0.96 and 1.42%. Amazon continuing to look very good here. Broke that trend line on a closing basis again, potentially heading up towards that 210 area. Both of these look bullish. Meta's that 520 level once again as we push off this trend line into that zone. So overall, both look good. Momentum bullish, RSI still looking good. Moving over to staples and discretionaries, both positive on the day, 0.7 and 1.95%. We talked about staples. I still think staples is going to get down to that 75.40 level. Discretionaries, however, getting a massive run. Amazon and Tesla have continued to be super bullish, which are the two largest holdings. We broke 185.36, so the next level is 189.38. Continues to look very good. Momentum and RSI still very bullish, whereas staples did see a slight bounce, but I think we're going to reject off that SMA and see more downward price action over the coming weeks. Moving over to RIOT and Marathon. RIOT rejecting off that trend line. I continue to say this looks bearish, and I still think it does. If it rejects off that, headed back towards 878. If it can get back above the trend line, potentially headed towards 11. And then Marathon had a super strong day on Monday, probably just a pullback in time. I still think this is headed towards that upper trend line up around 25.20. Moving over to the dollar, this did sell off here today, 0.13. Nothing crazy, still headed towards that 105.5 area as support. Momentum fading, RSI fading, so daily chart seeming to start to roll over here a little bit. If the dollar starts to pull back some more, that could give equities markets a little bit more gas to the upside. So something to keep in mind, the dollar has been rallying, and now we've seen 4 days in a row of bearishness. If it's going to hold up, we need to see 105.50 hold, but that momentum step down is definitely concerning here for the dollar, which is bullish for equities. Moving over to bonds, 2-year still doing nothing, 10-year finally pulling back a little bit. This has been on a massive run right up to that upper trend line, pulling back a little bit. If we see this fall, that could be a little bit bullish for equities, but momentum and RSI both say that this is probably headed higher over the coming weeks. Just taking a small breather at that zone of resistance, 55 EMA, and the trend line there sitting at 444. Moving over to bonds, these actually caught a pretty decent bid here, 0.35 and 0.78. J&K coming off of that 93.67 level. We talked about that yesterday, being an interesting zone, needed that to hold, and sure enough it did. And then looking at TLT, there is just a plethora of trend lines in here. It overthrew all of them, and I thought this was going to potentially push down to that 89.16 level, but we ended up getting a gap up and a little bit of a rally. Again, this has been a strong fall. We were up around $95, and then we fell all the way down to 89.90, so this could be just a little bit of a relief rally. I don't think this structure is changing, which is a short-term downtrend at least, if not a longer-term downtrend towards that 85 area. Moving over to volatility, MOVE Index continues to skyrocket, so bonds seeing volatility. VIX doing nothing. Did wick a low here. Low of day was 1185, so we'll see if that's important. 1177 is my level. Might see 1 or 2 more days there. Momentum bearish, RSI bearish, so nothing crazy. Bond volatility, except for the fact that volatility is moving in opposite directions for bonds and equities. Moving over to my accounts, made it just barely past the 139 level, 139.66, almost $700 on the day. Everything worked out pretty well. Obviously, it was a super bullish day, so that was helpful. Russell made 66 cents. Closed at 201.85, but like I said, that's falling a little bit after hours. Sold at 202 for tomorrow for 46 cents. And then looking at the Qs, still have my shares. Rolled that call out to Monday at 485 for $3 credit. So 488.35 is max profit, just giving myself a little bit of room. Then I did roll out that call option to 490. Obviously, that was a bit of a loser with markets rallying super aggressive, but I do have an at the money put here at 486, 481 cents. So still playing the strangle game. but deeper out of the money on the call side. And like I said, overall bullish with a little bit of concern with some zones of resistance. Let me know down in the comments section what you thought of Jerome Powell's comments. Is it all the same? Will it affect markets? And when will we see that first cut? Definitely like and subscribe if you got any value out of this video, and make sure you hit the bell so you don't miss out on any future episodes. Of course, none of this is financial advice. This is all for entertainment purposes. Good luck in your trading and have a great day.